I'm live. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. A with Q&A with Dr. A. My name is Brent Agin. I'm a functional medicine doctor, or you can call it a lot of things. Wellness, functional medicine, age management. You can call it a bunch of different things. But the bottom line is today we're talking about healthy aging, a topic, of course, that I love to speak about. And it's a good time for good education. And I have a different angle to approach today that I think is going to make a lot of sense to everybody. But, you know, my medicine is age management or healthy aging. That's what I do. This is my career. This is the only thing I've ever practiced in. Never practiced in traditional medicine. So 22 years of really doing age management medicine and helping people age healthy. So today's topic's great. And I think we're going to learn a lot about what is going on in our society and the things that you can do to improve your health and wellness. So let's start real quick by just kind of getting an overview again about really why we're in this health crisis, and how that is going to lead into healthy aging and our discussion about healthy aging. And so, as you know, in society right now, especially the United States, but you know, we're one of the most unhealthy developed countries. It's surprisingly unhealthy, and everyone's wondering, well, why are we such an unhealthy society? And there's a lot of ways you can think about this, but the interesting thing is that most people, most educated adults, would really be able to understand why we're in this situation. They understand the importance of eating, the importance of sleep, the importance of exercise. You know, they probably shouldn't be on medicines if they don't have to be. Maybe they shouldn't drink as much as they are. You know, they shouldn't stop smoking, stop chewing tobacco. There's a lot of things that we know, but the question is that why don't we make these changes? Because right now in the United States, every stat of disease is on an increase. So think about that. Every area of health or medicine, there's an increase in disease. Everything, doesn't matter, neurology, orthopedics, cardiovascular, mental illness, psychiatry, you know, everything's on the rise. So when you think about that we're getting sicker as a society, but yet we all kind of understand why. The Mayo Clinic did a study, and they said that less than 3%, or right around 3% of Americans actually qualify to have a healthy lifestyle. And what they looked at, so that's 3% of the population. They looked at 150 minutes of exercise, and they weren't even using exercises like you're grinding it out for 150 minutes in high intensity. 150 minutes of exercise, not smoking, having a body percentage, if you're a woman, of under 30%, a man of under 20%, and eating above the 40th percentile in a healthy eating index, which is not important. It just means eating pretty healthy in the top 40%. So you look at those stats and you realize that that's 3% that don't fit into that category. And you wonder why we're getting sicker as a society. So those four things, you know, and that leads into the other thing, the other part of disease and why we aren't seeing more healthy aging. It's because the two most preventable health risks lead to the most disease, which is obesity and smoking. These are preventable. Everybody knows it. You know, they know that it's one of the top contributors to disease, but yet we continue to get more obese as a society, and tobacco use is about the same, although, you know, it's kind of a shift now, as everyone sees. It's not just tobacco now, it's nicotine. So the nicotine's out of the tobacco and they're finding other ways to get in nicotine. So either way, it's still a problem. Smoking's still a problem. And these are preventable health risks. So how does that work and lead into this whole idea of healthy aging? Well, obviously, if we're getting sicker as a society, we for the most part understand what we're doing to ourselves and what's happening in society that's causing the problem, but no one's doing anything about it. And so as we get into discussing what is going to make people actually be able to have healthy aging, you have to understand that there's a problem. And so what I find is that what leads us into this unhealthy cycle is because we're distracted. And when I bring in this book, I think you guys are going to understand this, but being distracted means, you know, we forget that we're mortal. because I think immortality, and you'll see, really leads to procrastination. Because when we forget and we're not living in right now, this moment, we're not living in the past, we're not thinking about the future. I mean, we're thinking about what is happening right now. What are you doing with your time right now? If we lived in that time if we always lived in present time right now, we would realize that we would have to be forced to look at ourselves right now. Are you happy with yourselves? Are you happy with what you're doing in life? Are you healthy? Are you meeting your health goals? But it's so easy to just go, hey, you know what? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to address that tomorrow. It's too easy to just put it off, because we forget that we are mortal, and we forget how important time is. If we really understood the value of time, we're not going to put anything off till tomorrow, because that's wasting time. Because truthfully, if we are not healthy, we're not living at our maximum, we're not reaching that vitality that feels so amazing. Instead, we're wasting time by just pushing it off and procrastinating, and unfortunately getting sicker, increasing your risk of disease, increasing your risk of death, which would of course erase some of that most valuable time that you have, that most valuable asset. You can't get back this time, and everyone just keeps pushing it off and forgetting about how valuable. You can't get that time back. So every day that you're sick, you're never getting those seconds back. You're never getting that day back. You're never getting that opportunity back. It's gone. So every day you choose to live in an unhealthy lifestyle and not be healthy, you are wasting time. That is a fact. So when we talk about time, I am going to bring in this wonderful book, Healthy Aging for Dummies. You can see my name right there. I wrote this book with another lady, but you can see I wrote this book in 2008. 2008, and so I've been practicing since 2002, wrote this book in 2008, and now it is 2022. So just imagine what I have learned since I wrote this book to right now. 14 more years of really studying aging and what we can do to be healthy. So why I bring this book up is not to say that because you wrote a book you're an expert, but I'm a medical doctor and I wrote a book with a reputable company, and so it is kind of important that I have been able to, put together all this information for you guys in a good discussion and a good education, because I'm going to go through this book. I have all my tabs up here to show you that everything that I just mentioned about, we know the answers, is because I wrote the same thing that I'm telling you guys now and that I tell everybody that I see in the office. There's so much redundancy in this book because it's the basics. It's the stuff we know. Sleep, diet, exercise, behaviors, doing the things we know we need to do equals healthy aging. But nobody is doing it. Why? Why are we distracted? And so, now I'm not telling you to get this book. Truthfully, it's useless, but I'm just kidding. I am actually going to go through this. But this book is outdated. And so what I'm going to show you is that from 2008 to now, 14 years, things have changed, but not the basics. It's what we're getting distracted by and the things that are happening that are really making it less easy for us to break the cycle, because you can see we have been on this progression of disease has been going on since pretty much the mid 70s, early 80s, and then it's just continual incline, and now it's sped up. Now we're getting sicker faster. So let's look at 2008 and see some information, and then I'm going to come back and circle back. I had to put tabs in here so I can stay on time. But let's start with the first one here, because I just want to point out some interesting little tidbits. All right, so the first part we say is that was then, life expectancy in the 21st century. So basically, it's really what we're talking about is the evolution of healthy living, because this was written in 2008. And back in 2008, it even says, that was then. So that was then, this is now. So things have changed. But even then, we're talking about what changed 14 years ago. And, now it says in 2022, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with different things than we did in 2008. Unfortunately, because, but it's showing you that this book was saying the same thing. I could write a book right now about healthy aging, and I'm going to say life expectancy and then talk about this was then and this is now. You're seeing, this change of the people and how we're approaching our opportunities to live better than others, or live better, or living our best self, or our best lives. So to the next one, I go, we talked about preventable disease. And so the basics of pro-aging, the best actions you can take are to minimize preventable risks, preventable disease. If you're obese, you shouldn't be obese. If you're a smoker, stop smoking. Those are the two most preventable health risks. Pretty simple. You know, if you're overweight, work on your weight. If you're smoking, quit smoking. But of course, everybody that is listening or is going to watch this is going to say, well, it's a lot easier said than done. But yet, at what cost? Time. You can spend your time the way you want. But if you want to be in a hospital, or if you want to be sick, and that's the way you want to spend some of your time, then keep on smoking, keep on being overweight, keep on doing what you're doing, and eventually you're using your time the way you want. I choose to use my time the way I want, and I can, trust me, I understand the value of it, and it is precious to me, and I do what I can so that I can utilize it the best I can. So when we go to the next one, let's see here. So it says, if staying young and healthy is so easy, why isn't everyone doing it? Exactly, that's what we're just talking about. That's the idea of, if it's so easy, if it's all just basic information and it's just discipline and a little bit of moderation, why can't anyone do it? Why does 80% of the population not capable of having that type of discipline? And I'm telling you, that's what it is. We're distracted and we're not focusing on our time, and we're procrastinating. And it's sad because when people finally realize it, they finally realize how important time is and how important not being sick is when it's too late. They get a diagnosis of cancer, they get a diagnosis of autoimmune disease, they have a stroke, they have a heart attack. There all sorts of things bad can happen. Of course, obviously a major catastrophic event, which is death. Now your time is gone. So again, if you're trying to maximize the most valuable asset you have, which is time, and it is ticking, it's going so fast right now. If you can't recognize how fast time's going, you need to stop, slow down, and really, really take a look in the mirror and have some sort of a self-discovery of how you can improve your outlook, because things are flying by right now. And so the whole idea of immediate gratification, procrastination, is exactly what's leading people into not facing the most important thing, which is what is happening right now. It's terrible. When you sit there and you practice this type of medicine, and you really try getting results for people and helping people reach these goals, it starts to get a little frustrating. So then it says, modifying your lifestyle, the one true source of hope. There it is. I do lifestyle medicine. There it is. It's modifying your lifestyle, the one true source of hope. That is it. Lifestyle is the number one and the best medicine. That's why I keep saying it over and over again. That was written in 2008. That was written in 2002. That was written and it's still going to be written in 2050. Lifestyle is the key to everything. So the next chapter, just for topic of discussion, the 4 major health concerns about aging and how to prevent them. Well, who wouldn't be scared of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, osteoporosis? So, who wouldn't be scared of that? Those are pretty scary sounds. But again, we know these are things that are happening. We know people that have these conditions and these diseases. We know our parents have had it. Everybody knows this. But yet, what leads to cancer, diabetes, osteoporosis, and heart disease, smoking, obesity, behaviors, because all of that is caused by poor lifestyles. But yet we continue to put that risk out there because we don't appreciate time. So once we figure that out, things change. So let's jump ahead here. All right. So here, this chapter says, determining your goals and putting them on paper. That's a good start. We have to start somewhere. Everybody is at a different level of health or wellness. And so it doesn't matter who you are, where you are on your wellness journey. You have to start somewhere. So it starts by taking a look and actually evaluating where you are and where you want to be. But make sure you are putting in and you're truthful with yourself. Are you happy? Do you feel good? Because if you can't get up every day and say, man, I feel great, even if it means I feel great compared to yesterday, you should get up and be saying, I'm feeling better. Oh, I feel great. And if you don't, that should be your goal. And if that's your goal, you're probably going to make a lot of changes, and that is good. But you have to start somewhere. So a couple more tabs, and then we'll... I just love this. I haven't looked at this in a while, but... chapter 12, end of the book here. Keeping your mind and memory in tip-top shape. Now, this should be earlier in the book. I have to say that because, the last 10 or 11 years I've really focused on cognitive health, brain enhancement, brain health, mental health, and this should be a lot further in the book, because I think when you understand why we are distracted and why we're not getting results, it's going to make sense to you, because when your brain is not capable of making decisions, because our brains get the same type of inflammation, the same type of stress, the same type of disease that your arteries and your skin and everything else can get. Our brain is going through that same type of exposures and traumas, need for repair. We talk about mitochondria and our energy factories of our cells. Our brain has so many of them. But when those mitochondria aren't working, that means our brain's not going to function as well either. So as you start getting sicker, and remember, less than 3% of healthy lifestyles, over 80% of the population is not at maximum wellness, not even close. Your brains are sick too. And when your brain is sick, just like if your heart's not working well, you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel less able to perform daily activities. If your leg is broken, you can't walk on it. Well, if your brain is broken, you probably can't make rational decisions. And so now you're seeing what's kind of happening. Why does everybody know everything to do to get healthy, but yet nobody's doing it? Well, that's because our brains are sick. And so that whole idea of being happy and having a good memory and good mental health, that is the key to getting you out of this whole thing. If you're needing help and needing that motivation, it's because your brain is in the same situation as your body. So as you start somewhere, as you make a plan and you start doing the exact things you need to do and are disciplined to do it, your brain's going to start functioning better, and your brain's going to be more capable of making similar good decisions. And next thing you know, you're on a good path. You're on a good path of making good decisions. Because ultimately, when you're unhappy and you're unhealthy, the only thing that you can really ask is why. Because you're in control of that. That's your body. No one can control that. So if you're not happy, you're not healthy, you got to say why. It's because of bad decisions. You're not making decisions to support your brain and your body to get you out of that cycle. So again, the brain is the key to all this, and it has to be healthy, and no one can look inside the brain. We don't have any cures for brain disease. And so it's so hard to actually push yourself to actually get in your head and be able to push yourself to do something different than that tape that you're stuck in every morning when you get up, and you start right back into the same loop. And so there are things you can do for that. If you're stuck and you just cannot get out of it, and you've been trying your hardest for years, there's treatments for that. You're going to see a lot more information out there on ketamine therapy. I've been doing ketamine therapies in my office for 9.5 years, a lot more than a lot of doctors out there. And there are people that sometimes have put in every effort that they can to break that cycle and get their brain capable of making different decisions. But if you're in your 50s or 60s and this has been going on for a long time, you might need some brain treatments that can actually help open up these neural pathways, reset the neurotransmitters so that you are capable of making other decisions and you can break that cycle. That's it. Sometimes it happens. If you cannot get out of it, if you are stuck and you have tried your hardest and you can't get out of it, that is something to consider. I just wanted to say that because I have seen it work so well for so many people. The last little chapter I'm going to make note of, it says, don't worry, be happy. The keys to maintaining health and vitality. It's time. That is what it's saying. Don't worry, be happy. The keys to maintaining health and vitality. It's basically saying appreciate time, appreciate yourself, and have some value and appreciation for who you are and the one thing you only can control, which is your body. And if you do that and don't get distracted, over time you can achieve whatever you want. You're capable of whatever you want to do. But that is it. But this book was written 2008. And so, again, don't go buy that because that book is outdated. The basics are in there. You can read it if you need some basic information, but you know the basics. We all know what's going to be in that book. It's going to talk about diet. It's going to talk about deep stages of sleep. It's going to talk about quality exercise. It's going to talk about managing behaviors, stopping drinking if you're if you're consuming too much alcohol, quit smoking if you're smoking tobacco. It talks about spirituality. It talks about relationships. It talks about the importance of everything that we're distracted about. If you get focused again and you start thinking about the most important things in your life, you are going to start having an appreciation for time. And once you have an understanding and appreciation for time, you're going to start figuring out, how it is so limited, and stop wasting your time living someone else's life or watching their lives. You should be having your own experiences, and part of that is this journey of maximizing your vitality and health. So I don't really need to go into details again about what are important about healthy living, because we already know. That is the whole point of this topic and this discussion, is that we know this. And so, yes, you can go buy a 2008 book and it is going to give you great information, but it's not going to tell you the most important things, because first we have to just work on not being distracted. We have to stop being distracted by things we can't control and focus on the one thing you can control, and that's yourself. But as you see with our healthcare industry, you wonder how can a developed country like ours be so unhealthy? And it's because, again, you have to start taking autonomy in your health. And there's going, as we see what happens from 2008 to 2022, you're going to see continual change in aging, because what is happening is that our healthcare system is made for disease. It is made for people that get sick. You go and you talk to a doctor because you have a problem. The idea of preventing disease is just not abundant, and there aren't enough resources for everybody out there. There's not a lot of doctors that practice like me. There's a growing number, which is great. So you have to go out there and look, and you're going to see this growth of this term biohacking. I love it, because you know what this is? This is people. I'm a biohacker. I should be biohacking doctor biohacker, time management, time utilizer. Because ultimately, biohacking, all that means is that there are a group of people out there that weren't getting the answers from their doctors. They weren't getting their answers from traditional avenues on how they can maximize their vitality. They want everything. They want more sex. They want to have a great physique. They want to be able to play golf until they're 80. They want maximum energy. They want to look great. These people are going out and saying, how can I get all this? And that's what is now the term biohacking, is because these people are going off and going around and interviewing athletes and doctors and scientists and engineers and nutritionalists and personal trainers, and they're trying to find out what are the best strategies, because their doctors aren't telling them, because that's not what they do. They're not trained to prevent disease, they're trained to treat disease. And so when you understand that, you can't think that if you're doing everything the same, that's the definition of insanity. If you're doing the same thing over and over again and not getting any results, you have to change what you're doing. So that means that you can't rely on your medical doctors or your medical team unless you have wellness, age management, functional medicine, some sort of preventative disease doctor driving your path, or your partner in this wellness journey. You're not going to get the information you need. All you're going to be able to do is utilize them for when you get sick, and they're very good at that. They will help you treat your disease, but what's better, getting sick and having someone help you treat your disease, or not ever getting sick and using your time to be out having experiences because you're not in a doctor's office and you're not held down wasting your time? So it makes complete sense. I know you guys all understand that is this most simplistic way to look at this. So you got to stop wasting your time. You got to stop being distracted. You have to start being autonomous. And so this whole concept of biohacking means you better be resourceful. You better start listening to people. And when I say I wrote a book in 2008 that says all the same stuff, you got to think, why in 14 years, if you're any close to my age, why in 14 years haven't you figured this out when all this information is there and it's not changing? It's it's what's happening around us that's changing. So if you go back to the basics, you set a plan, you start working on it, the biggest thing you're going to have to do is stop being distracted. Put the cell phone down, put social media down, turn off the TV, and start digging in on yourself. Because every second you waste doing any of those things I just talked about, you're wasting time getting healthy and having an experience with people that are meaningful around you. That is what also makes your brain healthier, your body, it just changes everything. And so once you understand that, and sometimes, like I said, you got to get on a health path to actually be able to realize and have the strength to do something different. It's not easy. I mean, I get it. But you got to think that it's pretty crazy that you can't break this cycle knowing what it's doing to you. And if you need to use this, I have a sand timer, a sand dial in my medical office, because that is what I think resonates with people. You know, I think people can appreciate that, because once you understand that you are immortal, and I now through this last 3 years of craziness, everybody I think knows somebody close to them that has passed away in the last 3 years, unfortunately. And if you aren't awake now and understanding the value of time and the value of being more educated about what you can do for your health and implementing a plan that you can do to actually execute and get yourself healthier so that you can prevent any sort of downtime. Downtime, get it? This is your time. Anything you can do to prevent you having to go into a hospital, get surgery, go to a doctor, you should be doing it. And so it means paying attention to the details, getting a plan, getting yourself healthier. And every day that you get healthier, you're going to make better decisions. Your brain's going to be healthier, and you're just going to be in this, you're just going to veer off into a whole new path, a whole new journey that you just find yourself getting better and better and better. And it doesn't matter if you lose 5 pounds in a month or you lose 20 pounds in a month. You are on a new path, and you're making progress. And when you make progress, you feel good about yourself, and then you keep making better decisions. And so there is so much information on healthy living and healthy lifestyles. But again, you go back to the basics, which was in this book in 2008, and all it's talking about is lifestyle. That is it. That is the key to everything. So when you're looking at healthy aging, you just have to go back to the basics, the things you already know, and all you really have to do now is put discipline into implementing a plan. Start with something reasonable, but you just have to make change. Change is what will pull you out of everything. One change, and you'll feel good about that. Then make another change, and you'll feel good about it, but you don't go backwards. Every time you make a change, make another one on top of that, and just keep going. And remember, immediate gratification, throw that out the window. This is all about time. So if you just understand that if you put an action plan in place, you don't have to go in 100%. You don't have to eat perfectly 100% of the time. You need to eat perfectly 80 to 90% of the time. That's moderation. You don't have to exercise every single day, but exercise 3 days a week. You're not going to have good sleep every night, but you need to have good sleep most nights. And so you have to work at that. You know, behaviors. It's not that you can't drink alcohol ever. Obviously, if you read about it, you can see that it's definitely not worth drinking too much of. I can tell you that. But you can socialize with some alcohol, but you can't do it every day. That comes with any social or illicit drug that you might choose. I mean, they're all drugs. It's the bottom line. But everything's in moderation. And so that's really what you're creating, is this lifestyle of things that you like to do. If you want an ice cream cone, guess what? You can have one. That's the beautiful thing about it. If you really want an ice cream cone, you can have one, but earn it. That's earn that work reward is the way you have to get in your head. There's nothing free. There's no shortcuts, but there are some better paths. I should say there's shortcuts. There's no magic pill. So better paths are shortcuts. So there are shortcuts, but there's no magic pill. You have to put the work in, and the reward comes with that hard work. And guess what? The biggest thing you can get out of this hard work is you get the most value for your time. Because remember, once it's gone, you ain't getting it back. It's gone for good, and your time is there's so many people that are wasting time. And I love my job because people come and sit in my office, and they're basically in there for me to help them with their time management, because they're making crappy decisions and they're wasting their time, and they know they don't feel well. So every day that they don't feel as well as they could, in their minds, they're saying, this sucks. I should be, there are people that can't have sex. They want to have sex, they can't. There are people that want to exercise, but they got to lose weight first. There are people that have COPD and they want to be able to go ride a bike. There are things you can do. There are things you can help. There's always things you can do. You just have to think outside the box, and you have to be resourceful. So again, I want to thank everybody, because I could talk all day about healthy aging, but it's going to be kind of redundant, because you're going to keep telling me saying it's lifestyle. It's decisions. It is your decision to be proud of who you are. And when you walk around, show everybody just how disciplined you are. But more importantly, when someone sees someone healthy and full of energy and smiling, you know what? They're really jealous, because they know that that person is using their time better than you are. And so what do? They go home and watch TV. They go home and watch social media. They go home and watch other people's lives, and or watching TV series of actors, doing things while they're not doing the same things themselves. It makes no sense to me. If you want to watch a movie on a plane, or if you want to watch a series, with your partner, and that's fun, it can't be all the time again. That can only be 10 to 20% of the time. The rest of the time, you need to be out doing stuff, creating your own experiences, your own memories. So anyway, thank you guys again. I love talking about this. It would be so much easier in a question answer format, because I just ramble on about information, because I love talking about getting people motivated to just be healthy. The reward is so massive, because again, until you really value your time and understand it and really appreciate it, once you get on that path, it is so rewarding and so worth it. You feel so good every day. Every day you're happy you're alive. You love when the sun rises, but you hate when the sun sets, because you want more time. That is one of the things that I really like, is that I really don't need a watch to get up, or a clock to get up in the morning, or alarm clock. I need an alarm clock to remind me to go to bed at night. I could keep staying up and I don't want to go to bed. That is what energy is. That is what living is. That's what maximizing time is when you don't want to go to bed because you feel so good and you're doing something fun and exciting. So hopefully you guys can reach that point, and I just want to say thank you, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks to talk with the next Q&A with Dr. A. Brent Agin. We'll see you guys later.